I never believed the dead could cry out. Not until the night I heard my neighbor's voice screaming my name from the flames of hell. It was a sound that did not belong to this world. Not thunder, not the wail of a grieving widow, not even the shriek of a dying man. It was deeper, rawer, soaked in endless torment. That voice tore through my sleep like a knife. My heart stopped, my body froze, but the cry kept echoing inside me. Why didn't you warn me? That was the night everything I thought I knew about life, death, and eternity shattered. My name is Samuel, and I am just an ordinary man. I was born in 1982, raised in a Christian home in southern Nigeria. By all outward appearances, I was a good church boy. I knew how to sing the hymns, I could recite scriptures, and I never missed Sunday service. But inside, I was far from God. Across the street lived my neighbor, Mr. Adewale. He was older than me, a proud businessman, the kind of man people respected in the community. He dressed well, spoke boldly, and always had people laughing around him. But he had no fear of God. He mocked pastors every chance he got. He told people prayer was a waste of time. Once when I invited him to church, he looked me in the eyes and said, "Samuel, do you think I'm foolish enough to believe those fairy tales? Hell is for weak people who need threats to behave." I laughed nervously. I changed the subject, and I never asked again. But every time I walked past his gate, a voice whispered inside me, "Tell him the truth. Warn him." I always pushed it aside. "Tomorrow," I told myself. "I'll speak to him tomorrow." But tomorrow never came. The truth is, I believed in hell, but only in theory. Yes, I had heard the sermons. Yes, I had read about the rich man in Luke 16 crying out in torment. But in my heart, it was just a distant story, something exaggerated, something preachers used to scare sinners. I thought I had time. I thought everyone had time. I never imagined that someone I knew, someone who lived across from me, who greeted me in the mornings, whose children played outside while I passed by, could end up there so suddenly. And because I thought like that, my mouth stayed shut. It was an ordinary evening when the news broke. I was sitting in my living room, scrolling through my phone, when a loud knock came at my door. "Samuel, have you heard? Mr. Adewale is gone." I blinked. "Gone? What do you mean gone?" "He collapsed in his shop. By the time they rushed him to the hospital, it was too late. He's dead." I froze. The man who mocked preachers, the man who rejected every invitation, was now gone. I felt a knot in my chest. I whispered to myself, I should have said something. I should have warned him. But as people filled the street, mourning, wailing, and planning the funeral, I silenced that thought. I told myself, it's too late now. What's done is done. I didn't know then that it wasn't done. Not at all. Because that very night, I would learn a truth that would scar me for the rest of my life. That night, after the funeral, I tried to sleep. But sleep did not come easily. My mind replayed the sight of the coffin being lowered into the earth, the tears of Adewale's family, and the sound of dirt falling on wood. I turned from side to side, whispering prayers that felt empty. Finally, sometime after midnight, I drifted into a deep, heavy sleep. And that's when it happened. I felt a sudden weight pressing down on my chest.
My eyes flew open, but the room looked strange. The walls stretched like shadows, my ceiling seemed to dissolve, and a coldness crept into the air. I tried to shout, but no sound came out. Then, with a violent pull, I felt myself leaving my body. I looked down and saw myself still lying on the bed, motionless, eyes closed. Panic gripped me. Am I dead? What is happening to me? Before I could make sense of it, a dark force yanked me toward the window. My spirit was dragged through the air faster than the wind into a pitch-black void. At first, all I heard was silence. Then came the sounds, faint at first like distant echoes, crying, screaming, groaning. As I was pulled deeper, the cries grew louder, mixing into a terrible chorus of agony. The air smelled thick, sharp, suffocating, like sulfur and burning flesh. My heart raced. Fear consumed me. I shouted, "God, please, what is happening?" But no answer came. Only darkness. Suddenly, a dim red glow appeared in the distance, then another, and another, like furnaces burning far below. I realized I was descending into a vast pit, a pit alive with fire. When I finally landed, the ground was hot beneath me. I looked around and saw shapes moving in the shadows, twisted figures, human forms but not human anymore. Their faces were distorted by pain, their mouths stretched in endless screams. Flames erupted from cracks in the ground, swallowing some of them before spitting them back out, only for the torment to begin again. The cries pierced me like knives. Some called for water, some begged for mercy, some cursed God with bitterness. I covered my ears, but it made no difference. Their voices filled my very soul. And then, in the midst of the cries, I heard one that froze my blood. It was calling my name. At first, I thought I imagined it, but it grew louder, sharper, more desperate. "Samuel, Samuel, why didn't you tell me?" I turned, trembling, and there, in the flames, was a face I recognized. It was Adewale. His eyes burned with regret. His arms stretched toward me, but chains bound him. His voice cracked as he screamed again. "Samuel, you knew this place was real, and you said nothing. Why didn't you warn me?" I fell to my knees, shaking, tears pouring down my face. I'm sorry. I wanted to, but I was afraid." But my words meant nothing here. His cries only grew louder. "You laughed with me. You ate with me. You passed me every day. And now I am lost forever." His voice tore through me until I felt I could not bear it any longer. The weight of guilt crushed me, and the heat of the flames scorched even my soul. I screamed into the void, "God, please, take me away from here. Please, I can't bear this." The ground beneath me shook. The flames roared higher, and Adewale's cry echoed one last time in my ears. "Why didn't you warn me?" Then, suddenly, the darkness around me began to shift. Just when I thought the flames would swallow me, a light broke through the darkness. It wasn't like fire. It wasn't like the dim red glow of torment. This was different, pure, white, holy. The very air trembled. The screams around me grew faint. Even the flames seemed to shrink back as the light drew near. I lifted my head, trembling, and through my tears I saw him. I felt his presence lift me from the burning ground. The cries of the damned faded, though Adewale's voice still echoed faintly in the distance. "Samuel," the Lord spoke again, "hell is real. My mercy is great, but time is short. Go and tell them, I take no pleasure in the death of the wicked. Warn them to turn back and live." Then the light grew brighter and brighter until it consumed everything. The flames disappeared, the chains, the screams, even the ground beneath me was gone. I gasped as my eyes snapped open. I was back in my bed. My chest heaved. My clothes were soaked in sweat. But it wasn't a dream. I knew it wasn't. The smell of sulfur still clung to my nostrils. My body trembled as though fire had licked my very skin. I fell to the floor, weeping uncontrollably. And in that moment I vowed, never again will I keep silent. Never again will I let fear close my mouth. I will warn them. I will speak. But words alone were not enough. Something in me had to die, and something new had to be born.
From the moment I opened my eyes that night, I knew Samuel was gone. The old Samuel, the coward who feared what people thought, the churchgoer who sang hymns but hid secret sins, he died on that bedroom floor. What rose in his place was a broken man, a burning man. Everything looked different after that encounter. When I walked down the street, I no longer saw neighbors, coworkers, or strangers. I saw souls. Souls standing at the edge of eternity. The bus driver rushing to make money. The children laughing at the corner. The old woman selling vegetables. I kept asking myself, if this person dies tonight, where will they spend eternity? That single question rewired my life. I stopped chasing the shallow things I once thought mattered: reputation, pride, money, even people's approval. What use is applause if eternity is lost? Instead, I became consumed with one mission: to warn them. I started small. In buses, I would share the gospel with trembling lips. At work, I spoke to colleagues during breaks. Even at family gatherings, I prayed boldly, telling them what I had seen. Some laughed, some rolled their eyes, even a few mocked. Samuel has gone mad. But others wept. Some prayed for salvation on the spot. And each time I spoke, I felt a heavy chain fall off my heart, because every word I spoke was one less regret, one less silence, one less soul pointing at me in eternity, asking why I said nothing. And yet, Adewale's cry still echoes in my soul. At night, I hear it. When I pass by his empty house, I remember it. Why didn't you warn me? That cry became my burden, my mission, my fire. It is why I cannot stay silent anymore. And so I tell you now, not as a preacher, not as a saint, but as a man who has seen hell with his own eyes. Hell is real, eternity is real, and silence is dangerous. If you know the truth and refuse to share it, someone's cry may one day haunt you, just as Adewale's cry haunts me. The Bible says in Ezekiel 33:8, "If you do not warn them, their blood I will require at your hand." My friend, do not keep silent. Do not play with sin. Do not gamble with eternity. Friend, I have told you my story. I have carried Adewale's cry from the pit of hell to your ears today. Now the choice is yours. Do you believe hell is real? Do you believe eternity waits just one heartbeat away? If you died tonight, where would your soul awaken? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear your heart. Thank you for listening. May God give you grace to stand, courage to speak, and mercy to endure. Until we meet again, stay ready, for eternity is nearer than you think.